This episode of Nuff Said is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Recording has started.
Hello and welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I am your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me as always is the blue-eyed bomber of the Burger Pits,
Phil, me, and Perich.
and joining us for a special occasion, the lovely lady from Florida.
Little Hellfire, y'all. It's not even a 69 episode. Gotcha!
And, as always, my skinny rich and handsome young friend.
So true.
It's Mozz. You threw me off.
That's right, Charlie Esser travels with a handsome young boy.
He's my ward.
Don't beat me to it.
Let me just say, for all of you out there who think, oh, he calls me a skinny rich friend, ironically, Exhibit A.
It's all right.
When
Exhibit A.
you said he was a handsome man on the last episode of Jessica, A.K.A. Jones Cast, you weren't lying.
He is a handsome man. He is, like, objectively handsome. See, I make the joke that the shirt really shows off my abs. His shirt is hiding his. Okay? He is a beautiful, beautiful boy. Is my Mozz Mansour.
Sleep with one eye open tonight.
Oh, you're too
I'm just saying.
Live from Pittsburgh! It's Superconnectivity!
Anyway, but speaking of off-color phrases and things that worry you among beloved hosts, we have just unraveled what may have been a hidden secret that Seinfeld was trying to tell us for years, but he didn't know how. Do we know what the name of that episode was?
I'll look it up. Keep talking.
Seinfeld.
It's the Merv Griffin.
Yeah, the Merv
episode.
Griffin. Seinfeld drugs a woman just so he can play with her
toys. Her toys.
Yeah, and it's like, this is before anyone really was talking about Cosby.
Were there any other Cosby references on the show? On that episode, I mean?
He loved
Maybe
Cosby.
there was like a colorful sweater.
Oh, you'll never guess the title of this one.
What?
Oh,
The
just
Seinfeld episode, The Merv Griffin Show.
Yeah, the Merv Griffin.
Oh, the Merv Griffin show. Yeah.
was
You know-
Merv Griffin like
Well, he had his issues.
Yeah.
Merv
rapist?
Griffin had his issues.
No.
Oh,
That's the Kramer finds the old Merv Griffin set, and he sets it up in his
Oh,
apartment.
that episode. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's the
I'm
one where
just trying to find
that's the
ways
one
to-
where Jerry drugs his
So
girlfriend.
I'm just trying to find ways to connect it to Bill Cosby.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man, but it just...
Cosby was a very big influence. He has admitted that on him.
Mm-hmm.
And in Hollywood, there are these weird open secrets that nobody talks about.
Right.
Exactly. And I think this was maybe his way of saying, man, I learned something frightening about my idol today.
What do you think, like Hannibal Buress?
I was gonna say that. And poor Hannibal Buress, like we don't hear from him anymore, even though he was
Yeah, we do.
He's in some pudding pops.
No, but like I said, I just think that maybe Seinfeld was trying to say, listen, the guy that you're admiring, even if I'm the guy you are admiring, understand that there's dark secrets in my past that maybe I don't even, and it's maybe the kind of thing where like, because it kind of seems when you look at like Bill Cosby talking about it now, it does seem like he didn't know it was wrong.
Right,
You know?
I think that's more of what it is.
Well, he's this powerful guy making promises, and some people are willing, just like Harvey Weinstein. Some people are willing to go with the flow, and that's just how Hollywood is. I'm not trying to change it. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just trying to get my piece of the pie and move on.
Exactly, and I think that that's the thing. It's like, here was the thing. It's like when who's the model lady who said, yeah, Bill Cosby drugged me.
Janice Dickinson.
Well, and it's Janice Dickinson, so everybody kind of took it with a grain of salt.
But then she withdrew her statement that said she made it up, right?
No, I don't think she
ended up
did.
testifying.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I just don't think
what
people
it is,
believe her.
If you look it up, she withdrew her statement. She said it wasn't exactly like she paid it.
well, what it is
Not
Janice
to absolve
Dickinson.
Bill Cosby. He's a piece of
Look, people
touch my mouth.
having substances and then having sex is not an unheard of concept.
Right.
And is not, by its nature, just because you did that, non-consensual, per se,
Maybe
although your ability to consent is limited.
Impaired.
Although
Yeah,
maybe
if
you
you're
drunk.
consented before,
Well, no. Here's the thing. It's whether or not you sober up and you realize that was something that you wanted or that was forced on you.
Yeah, but
And-
that's post,
Yeah.
Well, but no, it's not just post, because here's what it gets down to. Essentially, you can be. Here's what it says. There have been times that I have imbibed. People have imbibed. I woke up the next day. Everyone was happy. Because we imbibed and we had some nice times, and the next day was just the next day. But I can see that if you're a person who does this a lot, there are going to be times when people are like, I never consented to this.
Right.
I got drunk, but there was nothing of this going on. And for a guy like Cosby, there's not enough people telling him, like... because
of that power dynamic.
Yeah, like Kramer does on the Merv Griffin show. Hey, you can't talk about that in this show. That and Jerry's like, what? And I get the feeling that there was probably a moment in Jerry's life where he's maybe talking with Bill, and Bill's like, oh, yeah, let's have some pudding pops and tell you about Sudafed and what you can put in the lady's drink. And he's like, whoa, dude, none of this is appropriate. And then how does he deal? Does he blow a whistle on Bill Cosby, most beloved comedian of the 80s? That's hard for a guy in Jerry's position who is, yeah, sure, an equally beloved comic, but, does he do it? A guy who was a hero to him, a hero to many. And maybe that is the inspiration for this show. And if it wasn't Jerry, maybe it was, what's his name?
Larry David.
Larry David. It might even have really been, this is Larry David's statement. I want to make this statement about comics I know
the question
who are doing these things.
As far as...
And no one is talking about it. And I'm going to use Jerry as the thing. So that when people look at it, they're going to go, yeah, that's really messed up what Jerry did.
I don't know. The relevant thing to me is, can I still keep Dr. Huxtable and not love...
Are you going to separate the art from the act?
Because I grew up with Dr. Huxtable.
I think a lot of black people had to do that. Because
I had to, because Dr. Huxtable taught me a lot. I learned how to put potato chips on my sandwiches.
If you can,
from Dr. Huxtable.
If you can, I'd say yeah, go ahead. But I mean, good luck finding it. They took them off TV everywhere. Playing that, they took them off TV. No,
he still plays on TV.
Oh, really?
He's actually
because there's other people that like Felicia Rashard.
No, I have no problem with them making money. But I thought I heard that they took it off.
They had for a while. They took it off BT and TV One, and then TV One said we can separate the art from the act because he did have such a positive influence.
And everyone else is making money.
Yeah. And the reality is, it's like, it is. It's like, to me, I can always separate the art from the horror. I mean, that's just something we do with any art. As an example, I love westerns. I love cowboy shows. Okay, every cowboy show I go, it's like, oh man. This is so terrible. A whole bunch of white people are like, boy, it's so great that this land was cleared when we got here.
How did you do that?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. There's Indians up there. I don't know what we're going to do about that. It's like, well, actually, there Indians used to be right here, and then you moved in. And
those savages.
Exactly. Man, I was watching Maverick the other day, and they're like, yeah, of course, after the war, we went back to Texas, and it was like really, the treatment of former Confederate soldiers who went to work for the Yankees afterwards, and it's like, oh man, James Garner, please no. It's not a show, but at the same time, as an overarching premise, much in the same way that I do not want superheroes to exist in the real world. There's that thing like there's so many billionaires in America, and
nobody's Batman yet.
And it's like, yeah, good.
Yeah.
I don't want to live under the iron fist of Bill. Well, I already do live under the iron fist of Bill Gates, but
yeah, we all do, unfortunately.
But not in an actual punching me way.
But then you also
unless you're in Africa, then it is a little bit.
Well.
# controversial, whatever.
Okay, no, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what Bill and Melinda are doing over there right now.
The universe has just gotten to a point where money can create someone like Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is a CIA honeypot. He doesn't really exist.
No. What she means to say by that is that he may be too good to be true.
Yes.
In what she's
he
really saying.
No.
What she's really saying is that he's really good.
No, I don't. Is he though?
Too good.
Yeah, is he?
He's got his scandals. Let me tell you.
Well, all right. In Mozz's defense, there's worse rich people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well,
our president.
Yeah.
I love as much as I love the guy. Come on,
we were just talking about. But again, much like Dr. Huxtable, can you separate
Well, when it comes to the president,
I think that's a giant leap we're taking for the sake of the conversation.
All right, here's the question: can you have that much money without having done at least one shady thing in your past?
Well, with every great fortune, there was a great crime. Just always remember.
Okay, a fucking.
Whoa!
The F-bomb!
Yeah, come on, Mozz.
Sorry.
He's passionate.
Sorry.
So
A lion's got to eat. Life feeds on life.
Yeah.
It's a dog-eat-dog world. You can't expect people to be this weird, idealistic version of what we should be, and not expect them to be human. You can't expect these people to do the things you've never done, or that you can't say that you've never done. So obviously, if you have much more opportunity to do the same things that you and I have done with that much money, obviously they're going to have done more things. But if they are advancing humanity's causes, then you gotta say, all right,
so it's like that Angel episode. It's like, oh, she was only eating thousands to save billions. Would you do it? Would you snap her?
Well, yeah.
But what if one of those billions was your grandmother?
Well, exactly. And and of course, this is, you can't really, so on 4 different levels here, you can't compare Elon Musk to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump usually didn't make money. He's actually really bad at his job in every by every economic measure. He's just
when your father gave you $460 million. How many times do you think you should be bankrupt? Answer 0.
Exactly. We're trying to get a drop here. Okay.
That's right.
Okay, so the more you know. Yeah, but no. So Donald Trump is not really a good example of a billionaire in general.
Which
Right.
But name me one better billionaire
Warren
than Elon
Buffett.
One could argue Howard Hughes was certainly more advanced.
Carnegie, since we're in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
he has his faults, but Carnegie did a lot.
Well,
for science and the arts.
There we go. Also busted a lot of union guys' heads. That's
make an omelet.
Yeah.
Yeah, without cracking a few eggs. It's so true.
Yeah, except I think you maybe could have. That's the thing. It's actually possible that you took less money on the back end and actually improved people's lives on the front end.
It's called generational wealth, and you got to pass it on.
Except he didn't pass it on. That's the thing with Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie did what I like to call the rich man's got to get into heaven somehow plan, which is he had $1 billion. He gave half of it away so he could still have $500 million, but everyone got $500 million. It was, hey, what a great philanthropist! He gave me $500 million. It's like, yeah, he kept $500 million, and he killed your grandfather to get it.
Excuse me, I thought we were going to talk about She-Hulk.
Oh yeah, okay.
Giantess. Moving
on to giant women. Okay, so
So are you talking like in a hentai way, or like what are we talking
about? Okay, so there's a lot of giant women in the news. Most popular right now, I have to say, is She-Hulk. Lesser so are the Diamonds and the various other fusions of the Steven universe, which I would like to get to, although Lilith hasn't seen the new Spinell movie. And
you can spoil me, I don't mind.
Okay, because Spinell is great. And really, as I've said from the beginning, the very first episode of Steven Universe, Steven shouts out at Cookie Cat, I didn't know you were evil the whole time. And Cookie Cat, for those who don't know, is a stand-in for Steven's mother. A refugee, a refugee of interstellar war. Because he loves Cookie Cat.
Yeah, right?
There you go. He loves Cookie Cat, but Cookie Cat is gone. And he knows everyone loved Cookie Cat. Why did they replace Cookie Cat with lion liquors?
What are we talking about?
This is Steven Universe.
It sounds like the porn parody. I'm sorry.
Well, it sounds like we haven't started the recording yet.
It's a very. Okay, now I'm going to say this: rubies do not necessarily gender as female. I said it.
Wait, what?
Rubies do not necessarily gender as female.
Garnet, I can get with, but ruby.
I don't want you to
Ruby. Come on.
Ruby does not necessarily. I think one of the reasons they made Garnet.
Well, and it's interesting that you say Spinell, because Spinell rubies aren't really rubies.
Well, yes.
And which goes into the whole Steven Universe theory.
I mean, there's a lot of gemology that goes into Steven Universe.
Ruby, is that what we're talking about?
No. Okay, so in Steven Universe, there is a class of basically silicates. Intelligent silicates is how I like to describe them.
So basically robots. Oh.
So they're they are robots, but they're like
gem-based robots.
Yeah, they each one has a gemstone in which holds their personality. Then they have a hard light construct that creates their body.
They're drunk. I'm sorry.
Okay. One of these, Rose Quartz, came to Earth and led a rebellion against the Diamond Authority, which is because all of the gems are ruled by the diamonds.
Because they flawless.
How many drugs were these people doing?
I don't. Many. You would have to.
Holy cow! It's a writer's room. Writer's room.
All I gotta say is that if your name is Rebecca Sugar, and then you create children's cartoons, how perfect is that? But she is also the George R.R. Martin of children's cartoons.
She is. Rebecca Sugar's thebomb.com. Don't you?
I love her.
What is she responsible for?
Steven Universe. Oh. That's the cartoon we're talking about.
No, I thought maybe broader than that there was other things.
I know she has, but that's what...
This is her, like, big...
This is her magnum opus.
Like, being a showrunner. And...
Yeah, so she's amazing. And basically, so the entire arc of the first, 4 seasons, 5 seasons? 4 seasons. Is Steven, who is a gem-human hybrid.
Which is very frowned upon.
Well, all hybrids are frowned upon in the gem world. Because, as it is revealed, spoilers, Pink Diamond wasn't destroyed. She manufactured diamond shards and then restructured her light form to be Rose Quartz. Mm-hmm. Then came to Earth with her, actually a mixed pearl, as has been pointed out, that her pearl is neither pink, nor yellow, nor white, nor blue, but actually incorporates all the colors of the Diamond Authority, came to Earth and started the Crystal Gems Rebellion, which was the statement that all gems have a right to exist and all biologic creatures have a right to exist. Now, I always thought there was going to be a point at some point that the fact that diamonds are, in fact, not rare stones was going to be central. That the reason why the diamonds wanted to destroy all life was because on organic world, people would realize diamonds were not rare, were not flawless.
They are manipulated.
Exactly. But that's not what happened. Instead, Steven sort of brings peace to the Diamond Authority, but at the same time, all of the crimes of the Diamond Authority don't go away. And one of the crimes that we're dealing with in the Steven Universe movie is Spinel, who was Diamond's playmate, because Diamond was a Pink Diamond's playmate, because she was a very immature gem, and was given this playmate, and then when Pink Diamond gets her colony of Earth, she tells Spinel to wait in the garden, and then she stands there for 6,000 years and gets forgotten about. Then she comes back and wackiness ensues.
You want to know a cool place to learn about gemology?
Where?
The Carnegie Museum of Art and Natural History.
Oh.
I actually went Friday. It was really cool.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah. They have like this really huge collection of like all the quartz and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like, of course, like some of the first like big complete dinosaur skeletons.
So nobody slipped me anything, right?
No.
This all makes sense to you guys?
No, it doesn't make sense to Phil, but I'm following.
No, me and Lilith. No.
This is a Charlie and Lilith thing. Don't worry about it.
But anyway, but one of the things in this is they have very giant women. And giant women are because the diamonds are all
That's how we
huge.
got here. Okay.
Bring it home, Charlie.
The diamonds are
it's all connected. Don't you worry.
And when diamonds fusion, which of course is why I think that they actually kind of code Ruby to be very masculine, and they actually code Sapphire
because she also is
feminine.
the stand-in for the black feminine, which is that whole thing.
Oh, I guess I mean, I can see that too.
Yeah, I've read many a piece on.
I mean, Garnet definitely is. I mean, but Garnet owns it.
Yeah.
You know, and
but like I said, Spinel's not really.
Yeah. Well,
they've been passed off as rubies for so long.
I know. Well, yeah, and
I think that was the whole thing too. But a lot of people miss.
I love that the whole time this is happening, the biggest thing on the screen is Phil's perplexed expression.
That's Superconnectivity, don't you know?
Trust me. Anyway, but what brings this all about?
That's right, Charlie.
At the end of the day, is that Stephanie Beatriz, I believe is her name, Stephanie Beatriz, who is fantastic in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh.
As what's her name? Rosa. Yeah, I believe her character's name was Rosa. I can't remember her last name. But she's the bisexual, tough as nails cop. Again, bringing it into that Steven Universe storyline, too. In its own way. Is lobbying hard to play She-Hulk.
And she's 5'9".
She's tall.
Yeah, for a woman.
Yeah.
5'9" is pretty tall. 5'9"
is pretty tall for a woman. And
she can bulk up.
She can bulk up. I don't know.
And they're going to do the perspective play with whoever they cast.
Exactly.
There's not that many actresses in Hollywood that are like
give her some big boots.
Yeah. There's some big women out there who can't act.
Yeah, that's the problem.
R.I.P. China. R.I.P.
Oh yeah. Anyway, but yeah, and that's the thing. And when they did the 70s Incredible Hulk, they would shoot Lou Ferrigno from down here, and Bill Bixby they would usually shoot from here, maybe even here, because which is great for a podcast, but from below for Lou Ferrigno, from face on or slightly above for David Banner. And so you can take a person like Beatriz Cruz, who, if you've ever seen her on Modern Family, playing the sister of, Sofia Vergara, who is the little mousy sister, to the Sofia Vergara, who really, now that's a physical embodiment of the She-Hulk. I know a lot of people are thinking right now.
Spicy. See.
She's a brick house lady.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not as muscular.
Be careful what you say. She is married to Joe Manganiello.
I'm not. Hey, you know what? I think Joe Manganiello is the first person who's going to say, you know what? I'm not going to argue that is a well-positioned woman. A well-structured
There's a lot of female wrestlers in the WWE that would be a better choice.
Let's just be honest.
I mean, hey, they're on the WWE. That requires a modicum of acting.
Well,
modicum.
Yeah.
And some people have said Ronda Rousey could play her because Ronda cannot act out of a big bag. I agree. But at least physicality-wise, they should look for somebody of that.
Or for Wonder Woman.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. That's not how Marvel does it. Marvel says, okay, who's an actor who can play this role? Okay.
Make it work.
Yeah, no. Go send that person to the gym. Tell them we're going to pay them $1 million
to get in shape.
Yeah, I guess my problem.
Tell Chris Pratt he gets $1 million to put down the donuts and lift up some.
My problem is
he just stopped drinking beer and started working out a little bit.
Right. No, but my problem is I guess my perception of how this will all play out is being tainted by DC. Even though she did a great job as Wonder Woman.
Are you just mad because Gal Gadot's boobs aren't big or what?
No. It's because
that was all the thing.
No, he was saying she's too thin.
Yeah, he said she doesn't have the guts.
She was muscular enough to be an Amazon. I mean, if you're gonna say an Amazon,
and that's why they had all the Amazons be, the way they were to match.
And that's why
that's why they all had to learn Gail's accent.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why the accent on the island was Israeli.
Like, okay, so I guess we all had to talk because when they and they actually had to redub all that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, redub that because people would be
the woman who plays.
You mean her aunt?
No, her aunt, the Madam President in House of Cards.
Oh yeah, no, that was her. What's that? Oh, yeah.
Was that Hippolyta?
It was her
Princess Buttercup.
Whatever it was.
Oh yeah,
it's Robin.
Robin Wright Penn.
But she's still married to.
No, she's not still married to him actually. So
but whatever, Robin Wright. But she brought a certain physicality to that role that I think they could have mirrored in her role.
Yeah.
Not to say that she didn't kill it, and I thought she was
the best part of the movie.
She's maybe the best part of the DCEU.
Yeah.
Aside from maybe the first Superman movie, Man of Steel, which was incredible.
Okay. Tyler would love you.
Yes, I
thought that movie was amazing. I thought that movie was moving and real. And
Mozz is such a sweet summer child.
I was going to say that Mozz being worse, seducing all the kids. There's
a reason I brought Mozz into the family.
Just bring it home with Nightwing and you got Phil in your pocket.
I wish we had something to go on for Nightwing in some sort of cinematic universe. That'd be nice. Okay, all right, yeah. Well, but that's like
Mozz has won me over. He didn't.
That's right. Mozz is lovable. He's great.
Now you guys just talked me out of what I was trying to say.
Sorry.
But I mean, unlike Wonder Woman with She-Hulk, I mean, you could do like a Bixby Ferrigno. You could have two people playing both sides.
Too. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, find somebody that can bring that physicality.
Yeah,
make it believable when they
right. But the problem is, according to what Charlie's telling me, She-Hulk is not. She requires acting chops. She requires somebody that can speak and emote.
Yeah.
So they do. It's a hard line to walk, but you gotta walk it if you're gonna choose to walk it.
Honestly, I feel like it's gonna be Ally McBeal superhero.
Well, but not played by Ally McBeal.
No. Illegal.
She means like story-wise.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's the genre they're gonna go.
Well, we don't, and that's the real question.
Portia de Rossi to do it. Old Portia de Rossi from back in the day.
So you can't get What Portia? Wait, that's wait.
No, the
Ellen's
white
wife.
Yeah, Ellen's wife. Oh, Ellen's wife. Yeah, well, that's very much.
She's very tall too.
Yeah. So yeah, and actually still looks pretty good today too. So quite frankly, that's an option. Because we don't know how old they're going to be playing She-Hulk.
25-ish. Let's just be honest. Fresh out of law school.
Oh, but
it's Marvel. Yes, that's what they're doing.
Okay.
Oh, it's crazy to think about it now.
That's the other thing. They're going to probably be looking for.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. They're probably going to be looking for somebody younger, so
Well,
they can
they've
take
been
it for
carrying
years.
5 to 7
Yeah.
years.
Except you got to remember that this is a character that has to have been best cousin friends with Bruce Banner.
But are they going to ignore that? They could easily ignore that.
They could, but it's. I don't know.
Especially with the relationship in the Hulk in the MCU, I think they will probably ignore that.
Here's what I'm going to say. And I've made this prediction before. There's lots of ways you can do this. You can do a play on the marriage episode where, Jennifer Walters has some autoimmune disease that the Hulk blood could theoretically be the cure for.
Oh, and that's how she turns into?
It's a possibility. Or they could just say, because it's always silly. Well, blood transfusion. Well, my cousin has the same blood type. Your big, gigantic green cousin? I don't know if that's going to work in this. Then we also have the stockpiled Hulk blood that they have in Shield Hydra, whatever's left.
Get that out?
What, the Hulk blood?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Banner took it.
And in the comics, he was human when he did it.
Yeah, he
was Banner did it himself.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And then Stearns in this story, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe story, just sort of somehow was able to make the blood replicate itself because cells.
We're not getting Ruffalo, so Rick Jones is going to run in with a vial of blood.
Yeah.
Whoops! And just
Joe, they call me Joe Fix It.
Anyway,
Jolene Fix It.
Yes, but exactly how we do it. So, but that's a big issue there. Now, one of the ways they can do that is they can say we want to recreate a Hulk, and sort of like what they did at the end of season 1 of Luke Cage, where they say the genetic factor in this person may have been why they got to be the Hulk, or Luke Cage got to be Power Man, and everybody else just dies horribly. Mm-hmm. So the idea being, well, who's a relative of his that we can somehow experiment on? He says, well, he does have this cousin who shares a lot of DNA. Might even make her like a half sister or something, like they did with in Luke Cage, and experiment on her in some way. In which case, that wasting disease becomes a great way to sneak the blood into her. Okay. Oh, that's the kids. They're alive.
Oh, good.
Okay. It's.
Sorry, Mrs. Esser.
Stay calm, CYS. Oh no, I see Ray covering Lilith.
Yes. What's that?
Okay, they're over here.
And drunk.
Yeah.
Oh, and Tristan made tier 100 in Fortnite.
Yeah! He's gonna get that $3 million next year. Yeah!
Nice. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Okay, so Tristan's
That's how I
great.
get my week in Vegas every year.
Yes. Anyway,
we're all riding on Tristan's coattails.
There we go, man. He's going places. He's typing right now. But so I do think, because I think that you have to have someone that can be both Jennifer Walters and.
My name is Tristan.
He wants to know if he can get $20 next weekend. Because I promised them $20 if they could help me clean the house. None of us have done any work towards cleaning the house yet. But we got to get there. So anyway, more to the point. Giant women. This is the giant women episode.
Yes.
It would be nice to have an actual giant woman be Jen Walters. Because you can always reverse it for the Jen Walters.
So, Tyra Banks is 6 foot, and she has some acting
chops. Ooh. Tyra Banks.
Is she 6 foot?
Yeah, she's 6
foot. No.
Oh, yeah, she's tall.
She's
That's
5'11". Okay.
Yeah, I met her in person. She's tiny.
Really?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was at a movie theater in the city. We were going to see a movie.
Oh, because I thought when she was on the Fresh Prince, wasn't she?
She was as tall as Will Smith.
I was going to say, I thought she was pretty.
I don't know.
Maybe
when I ran into her, she was in a movie.
No, Will Smith's a tall man.
And me and my girlfriend walked in there, and we met her, and she gave her a hug, and I thought she was super tiny.
Like super tiny for a model, or just super tiny?
I don't know, but that's just the impression I got, that she was way tinier than I thought she was. Because you build her up as like this giant statue.
Well, yeah, but that's what they do, and that's how you make.
Well, if you have that perception, most people have that perception of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. That's what they did with Lou Ferrigno. They made him 8 feet tall, and what they did was they had every time Jack McGee walking in and says, "Why, that creature's 8 feet tall. He must have lifted this thing that weighs 5,000 pounds. You can imagine how large this creature must have been."
A young Naomi Campbell. Ooh, that would be a perfect choice for a She-Hulk.
Too bad she's like 50.
I know.
Yeah,
she's still hot. She can still
for sure.
Or don't make any mistakes.
For sure.
Maybe their big thing, like we were talking about last night, maybe they need some like a relative unknown.
A young Gabrielle Reese. You remember Gabby Reese? The volleyball player, she's married to Lord Hamilton.
Okay, yeah.
We can't do that either.
I know, but I'm saying somebody that looks like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you know,
but
somebody call the U.S. volleyball.
No, in Disney, they're probably looking for like a established actor, though.
Well, yeah, and that,
not necessarily.
Well, no, but
no, and remember, this is the MCU. And here's another thing: this is also She-Hulk, who is a character with a history of comedy chops.
Oh, really?
True. And a little bit of breaking as well.
That's right. Ray brings up a good point. Did you see who else's name they were throwing out?
Oh, who's that?
Rosario Dawson.
Hard pass on that one.
Yeah, okay.
Claire from all those Netflix.
Yeah, I could see her bulking up and.
Really, she's tiny. She's only like 5'7".
Yeah.
No, but I met her in Hell's Kitchen once. She actually lives in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah. And
I saw her getting sushi at Go Sushi, and she's got the physicality. I think if she bulked up, I think she could pull it off.
Yeah, and again, it's like I said.
Plus, she can do her own stunts too.
You know,
working with what's his face, Robert Rodriguez.
Oh yeah.
Quentin Tarantino.
As we know, as we've said many times on the show, Tom Cruise, 5'7".
5'6" on a good day.
Hang him off an airplane, you can't tell.
But yeah, exactly. It's like you shoot him from the right angle. He is 6'9", easy.
Oh no, he's 6 foot easy. Let's not get carried away.
You know, but yeah,
for your benefit, he said 6'9".
Yeah. There you go. But the point is that you can do a lot without even going the CGI route. It was like saying they have to do a CGI She-Hulk because how can you make someone look like a She-Hulk?
They're gonna do it for the green skin because it's just not. There's no healthy paint to do that.
I don't know. How do they do it with Gamora?
Ooh.
Wasn't that CGI?
No, they sit and paint that like every week.
Yeah, but is that like latex or whatever?
Yeah, it's not what they were doing Ferrigno in.
No.
It's not the stuff that rubs off on all your
I was gonna say it's more like rubber than.
It's. Yeah,
but it would be cheaper.
Like they didn't run out of paint by the time they got to his feet.
Oh, yeah, because she does not wear a lot of skin.
Yeah,
you know, Gamora wears pants.
She has
the face, the hands,
because she's an actual like working assassin or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah. Although you can put She-Hulk in a pencil skirt and nylons, you know.
Who wears nylons anymore? Supergirl doesn't even wear nylons anymore.
What dame puts those on her gams?
Okay, I don't know. But you could also put her in a nice purple pantsuit.
Yes.
And she has worn the purple pantsuit. To me, here's my real thing with the She-Hulk. I want a big messy bun. I want a Mrs. Garrett style bun.
Somebody get John Byrne on the phone.
Listen, if she does not have Mrs. Garrett hair.
I thought
Peter Griffin?
Well, she could have both. I mean,
I thought
she's got to shake it down and take off her glasses.
Yeah, because when she's She-Hulk, she has a lot of hair. Yeah, she has that.
I mean, she does the Clark Kent glasses thing like you don't know who she is.
She takes her hair down sexy librarian style.
Like you don't know who she is.
So wait. Okay. So if She-Hulk is also smart, why does she ever need to be Jennifer?
Well, she often isn't.
For a while.
Because my understanding was she was just. She never hulked out. She was always just
and there's different ways that they've done it. They've had it where she switches between the personalities.
Right, like Mrs.
There was for a very long time where she could never be Jennifer Walters again, and then she could again, and then she couldn't again.
Maybe that was around the time where I became aware of it. Because to me, she was always just who she was.
Yeah.
And the stark difference was that she never hulked out. There was never a trigger for her. She just was herself, but she was also green and huge.
Well, this is the thing, and this is actually sort of the big. So this is where we get into the superconnectivity aspect of it. And whether or not you, as a monster character, change shape. Because this is always the thing with Ben Grimm. And why Ben Grimm is always the thing.
Here we go.
Hey, look, it's important.
I know.
It's important because this defines everything you can know about these superheroes. Because, especially as we've kind of built into the universe now, who you are in the inside is how you represent yourself as a super being. This is something that was done very nicely in the original Adrian Barbeau Schwant thing. you know.
Hashtag let it go.
That was a classic movie, one of the best superhero movies ever made, the original Swamp Thing.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I do remember really liking it.
Okay. Mozz is on my side for this.
Yeah. No, that was all right.
Well, Mozz is on the fence. Yeah, for everybody. Oh,
everyone. That's why he's so likable. But my point is that so when you're always switching back and forth, you create essentially a severed personality. So the first time we ever meet the Hulk, there's not really a difference between the Hulk and Bruce Banner.
He's just a little more angry. Right?
Yeah, he's like a bigger, madder Bruce Banner. And he even mentions in his first comic when he's fighting the Gremlin, like, oh, for many people, this would be very difficult. But I am also, not only am I the Hulk, but I'm also Bruce Banner, the world's smartest man. You know, makes a whole.
Reed Richards would like to have a word with you, sir.
Yeah, so would Tony Stark.
You know, well, actually,
Tony Stark can just go
Reed Richards.
I mean, I'm just saying he's the one that figured out the time.
Yeah, but in a universe without a Reed Richards. But anyway,
exactly.
And also,
because Reed Richards got himself caught in the quantum realm.
No.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, but the point is,
and he's been there for 50 years.
Nerdy trash talk.
Anyway, the point is that actually Fitzsimmons actually figured it out the season before, but you know.
But that's not part of regular.
That actually is the regular MCU. Don't care what you say.
No, but that's
what you saw on your Disney Plus preview. That the TV shows are in a separate box category from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
They said it was the MCU when it first came out. That's why anybody ever bothered to freaking watch it.
I know, but that's marketing, and now they're saying it's not.
No, they've never said that. Feige has never said it's not. They've always said.
Can we bookmark this last 5 minutes and revisit this 3 years from now?
Feige me, nerds.
Feige. But Feige.
Feige you.
And a new drop is born.
You're cool. Feige you. I'm out.
Feige you.
So, but here's the thing. So that's Bruce Banner, but that was Bruce Banner's thing. Then he sort of starts to dissociate himself from the Hulk because he turns back human and he's like, oh, that couldn't have been me. I'm not the Hulk. The Hulk is the monster. Then the Hulk starts becoming Hulk smash me dumb character, and he's like that for a while. Then you have various other times where it's like, oh, if I can only put the Hulk's brain in Banner's body, yada 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 yada. Yeah, they did it like 6 times. They did that in the 70s.
And that's why we love Amadeus Show. I'm just saying.
Amadeus Show is awesome.
Totally awesome.
Totally, he's a totally awesome Hulk.
Hashtag Agents of Atlas.
Yes, it's a good book. But the whole thing is the reason why Ben Grimm can't be ever human again is because when he starts to separate himself, he doesn't want to become like Banner. But he also can't walk away from that power, that feeling of being a superhero. Not only because he likes being strong, but he also knows to give up great power is to sacrifice responsibility. To say, oh, I'm just a normal human. I can't deal with this. And he's too good of a man to walk away from the power when he knows he could help.
Right.
So he doesn't. Now they have this whole thing where he can become human for 1 day a year.
Oh, what?
Yeah, because basically
magic potion.
He built up karma, hon.
No, what it is?
Weird astrology thing.
No, it's actually a placebo.
Thank God.
This is my theory. This is my fan theory that the Future Foundation, because they wanted to help Ben, because they knew Reed Richards could never cure him of being the Thing. The Future Foundation figured out, it was always a psychological block, which was established in the 80s, because he didn't want to become human because he was afraid Alicia wouldn't love him anymore. But that had nothing to do with it. That was just Reed not understanding real human dynamics, which is typical for Reed. Yeah, because it's Reed. And for what it's worth, Reed has never called himself the smartest man in the world. He's actually vehemently said, okay, whatever.
I just do what I do.
I just do what I do, yeah. He doesn't care. He's like, I don't know, am I the smartest guy in the world?
That's not a question.
I'm just making my pimple cream to get this money.
I need the money, man.
I just do what he does.
I just need my mad sex and cheddar. Keep my family in the penthouse. Anyway.
Reed Richards rap.
Yes. But the Future Foundation realized, okay, so we know if he becomes human, it's going to cause this dissociation, because we even saw that the last time he could transform back and forth, and he sort of went on this weird acid trip where, like, all of these like thing pods sprung off of him, and some were evil and some were good, and he had to fight them. It was all crazy, mind-bendy stuff. And Reed says, well, you know, we never thought about what happens to the thing when you turn back Ben Grimm and maybe doesn't like being ignored or yada, yada, yada. I said, well, then I'll just have to stay the thing forever then. So actually, arguably, he's actually been able to change back since then. He just chose not to, but that's a whole other bag of hammers. So what the Future Foundation figured out was, we'll give him a potion, basically a placebo, and we'll say, this will turn you human, but only for like 1 day a year or 1 week a year or whatever.
It's a week, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a week. For 1 week.
Oh,
a year.
That's nice.
And now every time he gets his 1 week, something happens. He can't really enjoy it.
Yeah, like this year the Hulk showed up.
Yeah, it's crazy. But we actually got to see Alicia be super manipulative because she is the new puppet master. Because the Hulk took care of the old one at the end of that issue.
No.
And she's still got that radioactive clay. That's all canon now. And we also saw that basically the Thing can beat the heck out of the Hulk can one punch him just by saying, I gotta do what I gotta do. And punches the Hulk into next week and then falls over.
And then what happens?
Well, and then he becomes the Thing.
Obviously, he can't hurt the Hulk.
No, he knocks him out. Knocks him out clean cold. Actually, probably killed the Hulk. And then...
He regenerated back to being alive, or what?
Yeah, basically. Well, that's the thing. Is like, once you kill the Hulk... Because you can now kill the Hulk.
Is it, like, okay...
And then he comes back the next night. Because he comes back to, like, the life.
It just is what it is. Because, like, apparently the Hulk can't be killed, or, like, no matter who's fighting him, he just gets madder and yada.
No. Well, right now...
Isn't, like, the Hulk the ultimate MacGuffin? Like...
Well, so right now what the idea is that you can kill the Hulk, but because now he can walk back... He comes back to life after you kill him. So, like, if you kill Banner...
Right, that's the only way to do it.
No, now that's
Even
not.
Even then it wouldn't?
No, because then when the sun goes down, he comes back to life as the Hulk. Because he's come back from the dead too many times now, and now he can't, like, die permanently, is the idea.
So even if you decapitate Banner,
yeah,
he'll just grow another head when the sun goes down?
Yeah, they're doing like a big horror thing right now, yeah.
Oh, man, that makes me wonder if they're going to do that.
As I'm not happy about
Well, actually, it's a great story. It's beautifully written.
Yeah, the book's usually good.
The book is really well written, so it like makes up for the and not only, but here's the thing, not only is it Banner, but it's anyone that's ever been a Gamma monster now.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know, Mozz, when I heard the premise, I was like you, I was kind of skeptical, but it's written pretty good.
It's written really well, and so basically, and for what it's worth, it's filled with a lot of people that have died and kept on coming back to life.
Fair enough.
So
now you're like, here's the explanation why.
Yeah, so it's like, here's why they keep on coming back from the dead. Because they do, okay?
Here's my reasoning. Precedent.
Yeah, so that's that. And that's why the Thing now gets his 1 week of humanity a year, though something always screws it up. You get the definite feeling that, now that he's married to Alicia, and that maybe he's actually going to let himself be himself more. But then again, it's all about coming to terms with the fact that I don't have to have a separate personality just because I'm changing. And that's sort of what the people who go through this physical change are dealing with. And that's sort of what the She-Hulk right now is dealing with, because as we saw recently, she becomes the She-Hulk, and she's now the Savage She-Hulk again, and she is like super buff. She's like Hulk style big.
I just thought of this. You know who should play She-Hulk?
Who?
Serena Williams.
Can she act?
That's
the thing. That's the thing. It's like there's lots of people who could physically be the She-Hulk. She still has human proportions, except now she actually doesn't.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah. Now
they made her Hulk side more savage.
Really? Because back in the day, it was just whether she's almost as muscular as a man, and that was far enough away from the average person to be considered Hulkish.
Are we being too loud?
No.
Can we wake up Luca? Okay, I don't know.
Luca's not here!
Oh, Luca's not here?
He's at my parents', no.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know what you do. But,
I have to drive this one to the airport at the crack of dawn, so...
Oh.
7 o'clock's the crack of dawn. I'm so sorry, Philip.
It's only like 10 o'clock, Philip.
You act like we both...
No, I'm just saying that way I don't have to get him up in the morning.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, it's like, me and Mozz were up until 2 in the morning watching BattleBots.
BattleBots.
Oh, the story changes. First it was Tristan and Mozz, now it was you and
The
Mozz.
truth comes out! Busted!
You're that chameleon!
The champion
Leon, yes. Baked potato games?
Big potato games. Big potato
games. Pick it up.
I love potatoes.
This is the best party game you are ever going to play.
Check out so Lunatics 123.
Yeah, it is so much fun. So much. I had more fun doing that than the Seinfeld episode. I enjoyed the Seinfeld episode.
I enjoyed the hell out of the Seinfeld episode.
Mozz did such a good job. You guys have to scroll down.
Yeah, definitely.
Give him his podcasting, Emmy.
But, yeah, so that is...
We're submitting that episode to the Podcast Awards. Believe it.
Okay.
Just the Seinfeld.
But, yeah, but that's the thing. But Jen Walters is going through this now as well because she has this very monstrous form. But what we've seen also recently...
It's not really that monstrous. It's really hot. Let's just all be
honest.
Thank you. Let's just
No. Well, her new form...
Well,
it's still sexy.
Is it? I don't know if I've seen it.
Well, I mean, Thor likes it. So Thor is all about that giant woman.
Yeah.
But
he's the god of thunder!
To be honest, it's canonical that Thor actually was married to a frost giant.
Oh.
If you actually
me and Thor can have a couple of beers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's the opposite of Mozz. He loves those huge women.
Man.
Well, when you're the god of thunder.
Everybody's got something to offer.
You're so OP.
Giving her the hammer.
He's like...
Give her the hammer.
You know.
And that's why I ship him and Loki. I'm just saying.
Hey, are you ready to lift the hammer, though? We got to find out.
They're not blood related. Screw you. Don't judge me.
Well, we don't know. Well, actually, because... Okay, it depends on how you read it. Because you know my fan theory that Loki is actually Freya's real son.
Yeah, Thor is actually the adopted one.
well, no.
Freya's his mom?
Well, okay, so in Marvel Comics, in the comic books, Thor is the child of Gaia and Odin.
Okay.
Loki is the son of Laufey, the frost giant, when he had captured Freya.
Ah.
And no one ever mentions where Loki comes from. They never mention Loki's mother. And we see really how tight Freya, especially the way they're writing it now, how tight Freya and Loki are. Mm. And it's like, wait, so you were captured by Laufey, you were held for a while, Odin comes in, kills Laufey, frees you, finds this little blue kid, and you bring him back to Asgard to raise him as your son. At the same time when you were off finagling with Gaia. Okay. There's a lot of dots here. We can get... We can tie them together.
It's kind of like Jon Snow.
Yeah. It's a little Jon Snow.
R plus L equals J. I'm so bummed it didn't actually
Wait, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Rhaegar plus Lyanna equals Jon.
Yes.
Book fans rock! We knew that from day one.
I never read the books. Yeah.
I don't blame you, they're not finished. George R.R. Martin, if you're watching, please finish these books before I die.
And finish them properly so we can forget that last season.
Well, now, for what it's worth, you can say this.
Don't do it.
You can say this, that basically, George's like, well, now I know what not to do.
Okay, fair enough. You found a silver lining that I
do. Like, okay, so that didn't work.
Yes.
Because he gave them like some broad outlines about what he might have. And he might have wanted to do something similar. It was like,
I actually like the ending. Well. I just don't like the execution.
Yeah. I actually see.
They didn't have to throw Danny under the bus. No, if I ever have a daughter, her name is Khaleesi.
Wait, but if they were going to at least give that character the time to evolve.
Well, that
is Dumb and Dumber's fault.
All I am saying
is
though, what was that city that they burned again? Called again?
King's Landing.
King's Landing. All those people had it coming.
I know, but
I'm gonna go straight.
She could have went straight to Cersei though.
I'm gonna go straight Iron Rand here and say all the people on that train.
I understand.
They all had it coming when that train went off the tracks. They don't get their money back.
I bought hook, line, and sinker the pitch she was pitching, saying that she was there to free people, saying that she took pride in being that person. I believe that she believed it. But if the people of
King's Landing are the people oppressing everyone,
but they weren't.
They're not. It was Cersei.
Exactly, and she knew that. It was such a
Cersei sharp... in her damn wine glass.
But if they're the ones it's like this.
But so they weren't. They just got their septum blew up. Like Cersei was a war queen. Like she needed to be trying for war crimes.
You know who they were?
They were the
people who lived in King's Landing were the people who lived in North Korea.
She let them in as a meat.
Or were they the people that first off, saying, "Oh, Cersei," when it's been her family ruling this town for how long?
They got no benefits of it. The people of Fleabag,
they were hostages.
Yeah.
Well,
they were hostages inside those city walls.
You know, well, okay. Let me give you an example. You're a homeless person in America. Now, you obviously aren't part of the horrors that America has perpetrated on the world. But do you benefit? Would you rather be a homeless person in America or a homeless person in South Sudan?
Well, I agree. No, there's something.
There's this argument there that in the same way that, hey, I'm just a guy, I drive my car to work every morning.
At the same time,
killing this planet.
The real question isn't that. The real question is a character.
Straw man!
Right.
Straw man!
Right. Okay. The real question is whether this person who had defined her entire being and defined...
Breaker of chains.
Right. Defined her entire reason for being, defined her entire reason...
She could have been wiped out King's Landing, but what did she do? She stayed a Marine. She freed all those people. She tried to learn how to be a good ruler there so she could be a good ruler in King's Landing.
But what I'm saying is when you get to King's Landing, and here's the thing, I'm not saying that she wanted to kill the innocents in King's Landing.
That's what they're saying.
No, what I'm saying is, because here's the thing. When the soldiers all say, "Oh, we give up," it's like, yeah, I'm gonna let all you soldiers who've been plotting my death.
But see, at the same time, they're the house banners. They have to do that.
Right. And if that banner falls, they are left with the.
I don't know, man. I'm not
gonna
trust the generals under Cersei.
There are no generals under Cersei.
Nope.
There was the Golden Company.
There are generals under the sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, didn't watch the show, didn't read the books. I just like to take an opposite.
No. I'm just saying, I didn't read the books
Contrarian!
But I saw all the previous seasons.
Yeah.
I saw all the previous seasons, and that didn't make any sense. Okay. And the reason they asked you to care about this character, they negated in those final.
She's not like other Targaryens.
Right.
Yeah.
The whole thing was there's a giant lineage.
Here's what I'll say. If George R. R. Martin writes a book with this ending and can explain it,
yes.
Then you might go, oh!
No. Yes, that's all we wanted was some time to see her turn.
Yes.
Not just from one episode to the next, she's killing
everybody. If you want to do that, I'm fine with you doing that. But show your work. We learned this in 3rd grade. Show your work.
D&D ain't got time for themes, though. Themes are for 4th grade book reports. Just remember that.
Show your work. That's all I'm saying.
# bitter.
Yeah. They did kill two dragons.
No. What they did was they bought
Missandei.
No, they bought a term paper online and tried to pass it off.
They got a fan theory.
Yep.
Off of Reddit. Yep. Shout out to the Free Folk subreddit and Game of Thrones subreddit.
Anyway, so yeah.
Poor thing can't get his freaking thesis about giant women out.
Oh no, I've been talking giant women this whole time. I love the giant women.
Can we talk some comics real quick?
Oh yeah, let's talk the history of the Marvel Universe.
Oh yes,
that's all, y'all.
Okay. Well, here's what I want to say. Speaking of things that seem kind of rushed, really seems rushed.
Oh,
really seems like, And here's what I'll say. Here's the thing: the history of the Marvel Universe very much is a book of two minds. It wants to be Marvel Saga, and is in the back half of the book. Exactly Marvel Saga. It is exactly what you would read if you read Marvel Saga as a kid like I did, voraciously. It is exactly what it is. It is, here's a panel from the book. Here's what happened in the book. Here's another panel. This is how this connects to this panel. This is what happened in that book. This is the point in time where this all occurs. But then we have it played as as a bedtime story Galactus is telling to omnipotent Franklin.
At the end of the universe.
At the end of the universe. And actually, I think, Galactus throws Franklin a little shade. Like, yeah, then you were born. Then things got a little interesting, didn't they? Little shade at you there, because time kind of gets funny. But one of the things I kind of felt was that there's a lot in this where, and here's what I'll say, in Marvel Saga's defense, sometimes they would glaze over things. But then they would go back and explain it in another issue.
Well, it's their chance to retcon too, because like Ray brought up, what about the whole instead of anyone going to Vietnam, now it's Lake Kong.
Spider-Man's waiting to
Sai-Kong, yeah.
And that other dude is playing hard to get.
And I think we get the origin of Spider-Man in this.
All right, I'm just saying.
Okay, they're gonna have their own conversation.
No, sorry.
I guess they don't want. I mean, we can't have this. We can't participate, so we're just gonna talk to ourselves.
Talk over you.
I don't know. What are they talking about? I don't know. But hey, I certainly don't want the spotlight off of me for 5 minutes.
No, I'm
going to make sure that we're both talking.
No. You totally called me correctly because I didn't know how to contribute, and I felt uncomfortable and needed to do something with my hands.
I hear this.
That was a metaphor for my mouth.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Mozz doesn't want to know what to do with
his
hands or his mouth.
No, he was right. That's all I was saying. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I apologize.
Think about something like, do something with my hands. Think about something with my leg, but do some hands. Sir, you can't do that here!
This podcast is rated PG.
Did you just say PD?
PG. Anyway, no, but, so, I mean, maybe we're going to go, like, next episode appears to be all Spider-Man all the time. So I can think we're going to get all the stuff that was glazed over about Spider-Man, and the next one was that, and here's the entire Spider-Verse. Sort of played out.
Oh boy, because that is a twisted web.
How do you do
I know.
Excuse the pun. That is a twisted web in the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Oh, but speaking of Spider-Verse, did you see the first episode of Superior Spider-Man this week?
I saw the one. I didn't watch this one yet. Last week they were like, "Oh, where's Peter at? Peter's missing."
Yeah. This is where Peter is.
Yeah, he told me, he was like, "They're doing Superior Spider-Man."
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Is that a new cartoon?
It's not new.
So they have this new Spider-Man universe cartoon that's kind of in our post-Franklinized Marvel universe, where Miles Morales and Peter are like friends now.
Yeah, they're at the same age.
Yeah. Actually, in this one, they're actually like.
Are they like really?
They go to school together.
Not in the Franklin universe, but in this one,
They go to Verizon High together.
That's a dangerous idea.
Well, it's closer to what the actual Ultimate Universe was.
And Gwen's there too.
Yeah.
Nice.
And now she's got spider powers. She got her spider powers back when they were fighting. Who was that? They were fighting the Tinkerer and
Scorpion.
I might have to actually catch up on that.
Do not freaking Spider-Verse the freaking Scorpion.
Oh
yes, we all. I think that's something everything.
No, he was a guy in a suit on the on this.
No, but like they're taking away his legs.
Oh yeah.
No, it's like the whole. First off, if you lose your legs in a universe with robot legs, you don't intentionally get spider legs. I don't.
Spider legs.
You don't make it so you can't pass through a normal door. You know, that's not a choice you make. No matter how BA it looks, you don't make that choice.
He got some junk in the trunk.
You know, so I have no lower half, so I will make myself as much of a monster as possible, rather than simply having a well-constructed pair of legs.
Maybe he's trying to play big in France. Who knows?
I don't know, but it's like this. I have no problem with the Scorpion being Hispanic, even talking only Spanish in the scene. It's like, sure, why not? Whatever. Make him a gang member, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Don't turn him into a half-robot man. That's not who the Scorpion is.
Yeah, I know.
You know, he's not Deathlock, okay? You want to do a Deathlock story, do a Deathlock story. It's a great storyline, great characters.
Do they have the rights to that?
Yeah, they own... First off, in the cartoons, they can do everyone.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's how they have a Spider-Man cartoon.
They have the rights to him in cartoons. It's just the live-action movies.
Really?
Wow.
Sony had to get the rights from Marvel to do Spider-Verse.
Well, I think that's why it was that weird form of animation too. Technically,
maybe
It was like rotoscoping, technically, kind of, sort of. It wasn't
traditional
like
computer.
But that's the truth. Like Marvel never gave up their TV rights.
That's why they can do the What If episodes with Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, I don't know what all the rules and laws are with all of that stuff.
Because from what I've heard, that they're gonna do like one of the What If episodes with Spider-Man in it.
Well, yeah, I think they said they're gonna do one on like each movie or whatever.
Right.
And and not for nothing, that's where we're going to see Uncle Ben get shot.
Oh, maybe.
That's where we're going to get that backstory, because that's the one they're going to do. They're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys really care about it that much that it needs to
Uncle Ben is a necessity. I am sorry.
It's like in every other media, he mentions Uncle Ben. All of a sudden, he doesn't mention Uncle Ben.
Because Tony Stark.
But the way it was pitched to me was the same reason I was upset that they had to kill Martha Wayne again. And you know.
But I mean,
here's what I'm going to say.
Well, that's
what I'm saying.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing.
It's that responsibility. Like,
yeah, but that's the one thing Batman Superman did right. They did it for 2 minutes in the beginning to.
But the thing is that, and it was even in a movie that I really, really love. The fact that the gun gets caught in it and the pearls go everywhere. It's so on the nose. Did we really oh, come on.
Here's somebody's first Batman movie.
What it is they wanted...
Who's first Batman?
Some 12-year-olds. Some 12-year-olds.
Yeah, but here's what I'm going to say, okay?
All right.
What they did something actually, which is actually kind of nice in its own way, which is they're not reliving their pain.
Yes.
They both know, essentially, they both know how much it would hurt for Peter to ever mention Ben to May.
Right,
and Peter knows how much it would hurt May, and May knows how much it would hurt Peter.
Right.
If they ever actually address the elephant in the room. And now we can go back and say, and here's kind of why.
Okay.
Here's who this guy was, and here's why we don't speak his name.
And I really feel like they needed that in the movie because everybody was waiting on it.
No, but I think that's what makes it more realistic. If it really was real, if this did really happen to him, he wouldn't talk about it all the time.
But they could have at least been like, I wish Ben was here to help you tie your tie.
No.
Like, that's the only thing that I think really should have been. That was the big...
But you know what? And not for nothing, to put it kind of...
If you're arguing over whether one line was there or not...
This takes place... When we first meet Spider-Man, this is probably a year after Ben has died. And he's been actively Spider-Man-ing. Right. On YouTube for a while. So they kind of grieved Ben.
Right.
And they may not be in that position to, especially unless it's like for example, just saying, oh, Ben would help you tie your tie. That's something you say when you're going to Ben's funeral. That's not something you say when when the next year he's going to prom.
Right.
So, Ben would have tie your tie.
Right.
It's like, that's like almost petty. It's like, why would you bring that up? I'm going to the prom.
Only for the benefit of a
for those nerds.
Uncle Ben is his raison d'etre.
Well, it
really is.
But we know that.
But do we need to have it?
They didn't mention it at all, though.
No, but wouldn't a real person do just that?
But the thing is, he doesn't say, my Uncle Ben taught me.
Right.
He says, well, when you have the power to solve things and you don't, it's kind of your fault.
Yeah. Right. It's implied.
Which is, and that's why you don't.
That's how real people talk.
That's why you.
But it's a comic book movie. It's not real people.
Well, but they have to. Now, look, okay. Every comic book person has to be real enough that you want to hear their story.
True.
For example,
and Uncle Ben is like the most ginormous.
That's why you're all upset that this fictional character went and sent her dragon seed people.
That's why Uncle Ben is Mephisto.
No, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it.
No, but here's the thing. It's like if you go look at that story, because what they're going to do one of two stories. They're going to do what if he had stopped the robber, in which we get Cape Spider-Man, which we all want Cape Spider-Man.
Prowler? What?
No. Here's Spidey. Oh, but you know what? You can get Charlie Cox for that one too.
Did you?
Because he discovers Daredevil, says, hey kid, I think you got what it takes to be a big celebrity star like me. And that would be great. And they get Charlie, and especially if they're doing anime and they get Charlie Cox to do the voice, that's going to be fantastic. But or they do what if Spider-Man had become a killer?
Punisher.
Yeah, what if we had the Spider Punisher? What if he kills that guy who killed his uncle and can never go back?
Or gets vengeful and decides to actually become a bad guy because the world was so mean to him, supposedly.
Yeah, there's lots of things they could do, and that's what I say, because the turning point of Spider-Man's universe is Uncle Ben.
Right.
So if you're going to tell a what if with Spider-Man, it's got to be the Uncle Ben story.
But they're not saying that didn't happen.
No.
That's the point. They're not saying it didn't happen. It's just that we don't have to waste time going over what you already know.
Well, exactly. But what I'm saying is it's a great way to make everybody happy in your what if you go back and tell an Uncle Ben story.
I'm with that. I dig it.
Okay, anyway. But yeah, I kind of felt that the history of the Marvel Universe in their stories getting a little rushed. They're kind of glazing over things to get to because there's so much to cover. They're glazing over some things, and it's kind of like it's sort of like the universe was created.
It's a Wikipedia.
The universe was created. Nothing much happened for about 1 billion years, and then Hitler, and then
to be
radiation.
To be fair.
And now today.
That pretty much sums it up, to be fair.
But we got Conan back, so that's all I care
Savage about. Conan on top of that.
We got all the Conans.
Yeah, we do have all the Conans.
And we're getting more Conans every day.
So,
they're spending Conans like they're going out of sight. Like, let's put Conan in everything. That never bit us in the butt before.
You can just smell a movie right around the corner, right?
Oh yeah, I hope so, man.
I smell a Conan
movie.
A
good Conan movie would be good.
Although, but the other ones weren't that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Grace Jones.
I'm not saying that any of them were bad. I'm actually just saying another good Conan movie would be fantastic.
Yeah, we need it.
2022
needs it.
The last one I was a little not as good.
Yeah.
The first one was dope though.
The first one was fantastic.
Hell yeah.
And I love Red Sonja, even though that technically isn't a Conan film.
Right. I was gonna say, they would like to have a word with you.
Yeah, it's not technically a Conan film. It's a Red Sonja film, though Arnold Schwarzenegger is in there by Crom. And
Red
Sonja
was played by that lady that was dating Flavor Flav.
Yeah. Who was also going to be She-Hulk in the original TV show.
Shut the front door.
She did screen test.
That makes sense. She's giant for real.
She would have been a really freaking amazing She-Hulk, and they actually did a green paint test for her. I don't know if she was going to be Jen Walters, but she was going to be She-Hulk. She was going to be in the third one, Death of the Incredible Hulk, but then they wrote her out. She's
problematic.
That might have been why they actually even wrote out the Black Widow character. So, you know what? Let's just kill him at the end. And we're going to call this the last one. And then although Bixby was going to come back for a fourth one, but then he died.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Well, it happens to all actors eventually. They die.
It happens to everybody
eventually. What happened.
But they were actually talking about,
Except for me, because I'm going to join... I'm gonna be a cyborg. I'm gonna put my brain in it.
Let's be honest.
Are you doing the Elon Musk Neuralink thing?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah!
After all the kinks get worked out.
For real.
Or I wanted to talk comics. Let's segue. Did you read House of X #5?
Hell yeah, I did.
They revealed what the
I'm
what's up with the X-Men crawling out of them pods in the first
because obviously it was obvious. Obvious plot point was obvious.
Basically, with the power of like 5 different mutants, they can basically like regrow or clone new bodies, and then Xavier just like plugs everyone's minds back.
But are they the same? Do they have the same stuff? They don't have the
That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Well,
that's about Otto Octavius.
But honestly, when it comes to X-Men, that is kind of how it works.
Yeah, because I guess he basically that's why he's wearing that Cerebro. I guess he like backs up everyone's brains every so often.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
But basically, what it is you just create this, and not for nothing. That is literally the exact same thing that the Wizard does every week.
Oh yeah.
That is literally that's why we have a Bentley 23 because he's had 22 other clones who have died repeatedly, but Bentley just has himself on backup. It's what Doc Ock does, which is why Doc Ock isn't Doc Ock anymore. He's actually Peter Parker who thinks he's Dr. Octopus. So
what?
Yeah.
What?
That's pretty much basically what Superior Spider-Man is about.
Yeah, because he basically, the original idea is, and they actually are touching on that in the current one, because in the cartoon one, he keeps on having all of Parker's memories.
Wow.
And he's like, why are all of these flashes of his past? Because
that's kind of
the original one. He was in Peter Parker's body. Now he's in like a new clone body.
Yeah.
We all know how those clone bodies work.
But again, it was a copy of a copy of a copy.
Well, it's half Parker, half Otto Octavius.
Yeah, but it's also a body.
Wait a minute, they're doing Superboy?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, he is Connor Kent. But what he actually is, but the idea is that essentially in the original one, Otto Octavius is dying. He rewrites Parker's brain to believe that he is to put all of Otto's memory and personality into.
According to Charlie, there's no transfer. He's just basically
he's just rewriting it and then
tricking his brain and thinking, hey,
then he convinces his own brain that he's Peter Parker.
Whoa! Why would he do that though?
Because otherwise you have
Charlie saying there's no true mind transfer, and so
no, there is true mind transference. Dr. Doom uses an actual soul transfer.
Magic.
Yeah, you can actually transfer soul,
but scientifically you can't.
Yeah, you maybe can, but not the way they're doing it, which we saw recently in She-Hulk versus Bullseye. Where it's like, he's like, no, that's not how this works. It's just convincing your brain that you're this person.
So it's like being John Malkovich. Malkovich is still there.
Yeah,
I love that freaking movie.
But and the thing, but that's something that they're touching on in the new Superior Spider-Man cartoon, because as he's coming back, because yes, he thinks he's Dr. Otto Octavius, but all of Parker's memories are coming back.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, like I said, this is the program of Otto Octavius's brain. It's a computer program.
So is Octavius also having like
he's
former? Oh.
So in this situation, there is a program in a robot that thinks it's Peter Parker.
Yeah, his body's dead. Is it?
And so there's in the program that was in that body, in that robot, that thought it was Otto Octavius, is now a program running on Peter Parker's brain.
Oh, Jesus. Good Lord. And
now that program is going to get re-downloaded out of it in the end and going to build himself a new clone body to put his brain into.
So everything will be all right.
Yeah. But essentially the brain pattern that is the Superior Spider-Man is actually Peter Parker's brain rewritten to think that it is Otto Octavius.
Mozz, all the great villains are on at least their second or third body. Yeah. Lex.
At least.
Yeah. But like I said, and when you get into this concept of clones having souls, it creates this idea that... Of course they do. Why wouldn't they? Do twins have souls?
You don't, Ben.
I don't know.
No, but like...
There's always an evil twin, so you tell me.
You can't be evil without a soul.
No, but does
I thought the lack of a soul makes them evil.
No,
it's
a personal choice.
Okay, Josh Whedon.
Yeah, No.
But does that mean that the moment we create a clone, it creates a soul? Well, God?
Wait, isn't just...
every time you create a child, it has a... So if you can create a child that has a soul...
Yeah, you create a child.
No. We create a child and it's given a soul by the overlords or the overlord or whatever you want to say. And maybe that's the same process,
But a clone is just like cold hard
science. Is there such a thing as a soul?
Exactly. Here's what I'll say. If a soul is a thing...
Is it a consciousness or is it a life?
If we have a soul, it's probably here, not here.
Yeah.
Or somewhere else altogether.
It's right here.
What do they say?
We're just receivers.
It's the 0.3 whatever percent that they can account for.
Or it's the 6 grams?
Yeah, the 7 grams.
Yeah, which is actually not actually true. Yeah. It's not actually true. But the idea that a clone has a soul. Here's the thing. I think that if it's a human body, it must have a soul.
Right, but didn't we create the term soul to describe something that already was?
Well, if souls exist, sure.
No, but it's just something we saw. We didn't know how to interpret it, so we called it a soul.
Here's what Crumbs. Here's what.
All hail Crumb.
All hail Crumb.
Zoltan.
Crumb. Do you have a moment to talk about Crumb, our Lord and disinterested Creator? The God of nihilism.
Frank Castle said, "Sign me up."
Yeah, he's like, "Tell me more about this Crumb."
Oh yeah, that's the next issue of Savage Avenger. That's going to be Conan and the Punisher.
Conan and the Punisher, as Conan teaches them all of the ways that Crom really doesn't care about us. And it's like, okay, that's a God I can understand. He breathes life into us. That is what animates us. And then when we die, we exhale the last of what Crom was. And then we're dead. And that's our story. And
might as well have a good time, right?
Well, it's
eat, drink, and be merry, homies.
Well, or just keep going because I'm doing what I'm doing. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Just means I'm going forward. I'm on the path. I am on. But yeah, that's that whole thing. I love the Conan and the Crom and they were just who's writing that again? Is that
Savage Avengers?
Yeah. I just read an interview with them, and he was like, yeah, and we were having the meeting, and said, and then if someone, of course, converts to Crom, right? So, oh, yeah, of course, someone converts to Crom by the end of it. And there's like, well, Frank Castles is the obvious guy, but it could be Wolverine. I think we're going to get an entire cult of Crom by the end of it. I sent the link to it.
I can't see Wolverine sort of following anybody to that level. No? Isn't he too independent?
Well,
they must have so many cigars.
Crom isn't your master. Crom's just the being is the god of the mountain who breathes into the Cimmerians their life.
So what does it mean to follow Crom?
It means you're just mad at Crom all the time, but you'll also try to avoid his gaze because you actually get Crom showing up in your life.
So you simply just see him as a credible threat that you choose to avoid.
Exactly. It's like
Jerry Duggan.
It's like Crom, darn you to the mountain. Yes.
Okay.
But that's Cromism for you, and like I said, I think Disney said, maybe we should create a religion. Let's just, they
already have it in the True Believers, low key.
Yeah. You know what? They said we've got Norse mythology tied
all
up.
hail the MCU.
Yes.
I never caught that duality there, Loki being low key. I just caught that now. Wow.
That is just a pun that exists in our language. It was never intentional.
Okay.
And it just showed up in the comics.
Maybe it was.
Yeah, no, I don't know, because that term low key came up way after.
Yeah, it's a question of Dharma versus
I'm like
Dharma.
high key, son. I'm high key. I'm not low key. There's nothing low key about it, bro.
By Chrome, it's been an hour and 16 minutes.
Okay, so anyway, but yeah, so they're cloning X-Men because they can. But
I told you, they're gonna keep them spinning. Then when they show up in the MCU, they can spin them into whatever they want them to be.
Here's the problem with this: is that Xavier has expressly said that's not how this works. I can't make your brain think it's something it's not.
But he's secretly evil, so secretly he could do that.
Well, they showed him. Now they have an alliance with Sinister. Yeah. He just shook hands with Apocalypse at the end of this issue.
Like it's official. Professor X is evil. Officially.
Basically, they're like, all the mutant race come together. Good, bad. We're all one big happy race on this island.
Oh, are you guys?
But we've always assumed because he has telepathy. And he has that thing for young Jean Grey that something ain't right with that dude.
Really?
And now it's official.
Every couple of years, he's a shady.
Really?
So yeah.
The older I've gotten, the more that I'm like.
Now I feel like you're taking Dr. Cliff Huxtable away from me.
I know. That's how I felt when I got.
Not the Patrick Stewart version. The comic version.
Patrick Stewart's good.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart.
Comic book version.
I'm talking about my first exposure to it was Saturday morning cartoon. He's fine
too. Dr. X on the cartoons is fine too.
Okay.
Ian McKellen is actually the evil one.
Yeah.
Because he was the one messing with Jean Grey's mind.
To begin with.
Yeah.
But he was Magneto, though.
Was that Ian McKellen, or what was the other one? Oh, not Ian McKellen.
No,
the
second.
The new guy. The new Irish
Michael
dude.
Fassbender.
No, the Xavier.
Oh, James McAvoy.
James McAvoy. That's the one I meant. McAvoy.
Jimmy!
See, I like James McAvoy more than I like Professor X, so I'm okay with him being evil.
Okay.
Because I just want to see James McAvoy play something.
Evil.
Anything. Because he's really good.
Because he's British.
I'll see McAvoy play anything.
Anyway, as Phil was saying, we've gone over an hour. And
this thing doesn't always have to go over an hour.
No, we tried to do it for a half hour.
Right here.
Go back to a private conversation last night.
That is what she said.
Anyway, if you're
and that's
nothing. If you're being charged by the hour, what is your motivation then? It's like, okay, so let's wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the very special episode of Superconnectivity, live from Irwin, live from Irwin, Pennsylvania, at the house of Casa de Perich. Let's see who is here. Let's get some social medias. To my far right.
If you'd like to reach out to me, talk to me about anything, you can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And the lovely lady.
Oh, if you want to trade cocktail recipes, you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. And if you're on the gram for my sidekick peeps and my Cape Saloon 6 peeps, at Lilith Hellfire 69. I had to do it.
And the founder of the feed.
I'm on Twitter at NightwingPDP. Get a hold of me, NightwingPDP @gmail.com, and just follow Superconnectivity on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. @SuperConnectPod. No, follow Capes and Lunatics. Follow Capes Lunatics on Instagram.
On the gram.
Duh.
And, of course, if you'd like to write to me.
Get ready, boy.
In that old-fashioned email way. There are Mozz and Paz. Not Mozz, but our Mozz and Paz and Paz. Once dead. And Brian Cronin, who we were exchanging emails with earlier. You can do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming back. Cloak and Dagger coming back. The Orville not coming back, but we'll be on Hulu coming up. @Charlie Essa. Let's see. HAILIE. ESLCR. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality.
Bing! There you go.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us once again for Superconnectivity. Please super connect with us again next week. Good night.
I love Mozz. He's just like in the Church of Ezra over there. So you're singing, he's going, I feel it! I feel the spirit!
I have seen the light.
Great, but it is green.
That's right, he's sharing a hotel room with Carly.
We're all friends.
I've done it before. It's not that. I didn't have.
Yeah.
It was a fun time. A bunch of dudes sparking up a storm, laughing it up.
Battle
Oh, well,
have a good night. All right.
Battle bots.
Yappers will do that to you.